You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
So I shouldn't even call this a podcast. Like I said before, you're definitely had the best term for it. It's called the Health Corner.
Yep.
I'm here with my buddy Matt Weedon, who's a fellow gym goer. I met actually working out, and he is a vegan. And
vegan 4 years.
was that a health conscious decision? Like you just decided to do it for yourself, or did you decide to do it because animals?
It kind of was both. At first, it kind of started as like more of like an ethical thing because I don't know, you can only eat like so many turkey breasts or like chicken breasts in like one day before you realize, like, I started to think, how many whole animals have I just consumed myself? You know?
It's ridiculous. You know, like when they get done using cows and stuff, they basically like once their milk is like not good anymore, they just kill the cow.
Yeah.
There's no point in even keeping it around. It would cost more to keep it around. And I definitely think like I'm not against people who are vegan, even though it would be extremely hard for me not to.
Yeah,
be
no,
vegan.
and I'm not against anyone that like eats meat either.
Well, mostly, you got to think, how hard is it for you to navigate a restaurant menu or just even go out to eat at all? I mean, me being a health nut, so it's like when it comes to going out to eat, I'm always looking for the best, healthiest options. And at that point, you're just like, I don't even want to go out to eat because all the stuff ends up being fried, especially like when you anywhere around town or anywhere in society, everything's more fast food and so highly processed. You're like, right. I don't want to eat this garbage.
Yeah, I know. I'm definitely not someone that enjoys going out to eat either. It seems like more of a chore sometimes because it feels like...
Yeah, like you don't want to kind of deny your family.
Yeah,
Like if, it's your birthday and something, you want to go out to eat. Literally, I always tell them, like, hey, I just want a thing of shrimp. And that's the main reason why I can't be vegan. Because when it comes to anything...
you and your shrimp.
Dude, when it comes to anything out of the sea, shrimp or just Jell-O in general, just the stuff... You actually gave me the best advice on that. You said, I was like, I think about going vegan. You're like, no, you would never be able to. I'm like, what are you talking about? You go, first of all, seafood. I'm like, I understand that. There's like a pescatarian or something. Yeah. And you're like, no, you don't understand. You're eating Jell-O too. I'm like, what do you mean Jell-O? And the main ingredient in gelatin is the collagen. Is that what it is? Or gelatin's animal bones?
Gelatin is like, it's a byproduct that is made from like bone cartilage and like ligaments and stuff like that.
So like the leftovers, yeah.
After we're done with
usually when you think of like leftovers of an animal, you're thinking of like the ears, the snout for like a hot dog or something, Yeah. That's crazy though, because I never knew that, and then I was like, all right, that can't be right, and I looked it up. I was like, oh my god, well, I guess I love animal bones, and hey, at least I'm not living in China where that's what they consume. They actually cook with that and also eat it too.
Right.
But I mean, when it comes to eating, I guess I'm not a big red meat guy. Just because when it comes to red meat, it's really hard for me to digest because I'm so used to eating such a strict diet of like seafood and the occasional cereal. I'm not I think that's another reason why I could not go vegan. And I'm sitting here like kind of studying up on just like, because I don't know too much about being vegan, and I was studying. I was like, man, Matt can't have anything, nothing good.
It seems that way, but it's just like we can pretty much have anything that is normally non-vegan. It's just like there's a different way of like making stuff. Like you replace eggs in like dishes with something else.
You're talking to a kid that eats egg whites, like
right,
like a carton a day.
Like you eat egg whites like you breathe air. I know.
Yeah, like it's life basically. And then when it comes down to like diet soda or having like a nice beverage that isn't water, because I mean water is good and all, but it's so hard to drink sometimes. You're sitting there like, that's your 8th cup of water. Yeah, don't you want something with flavor? Oh, I'd love something with flavor, but it's. I haven't.
Rob saying you like don't like water is like saying you don't like 70% of yourself.
Well, that explains why I have my motivation for the gym.
Yeah.
Always trying to change it.
I feel you.
I mean, it comes down to like, but when you're working out and you're trying to meet your protein needs, that's a big thing. Especially like I know just for me being a health nut, it's difficult to go out to eat. Like I said, with trying to find something that's a healthier choice option. and I know you probably have the habit of keeping some type of vegan-friendly meal in your car,
sometimes,
just in case you're not there's not a food available thing for you, whether it's like a banana, whether it's some type of fruit.
Yeah.
Like for me, it would be a bag of Jello. Now I wouldn't have that in my car, but it's not too hard really to find like seafood that I'm into, but like mostly everywhere around, all they sell is red meats, and it's hard and it gets expensive, like especially if you're trying to shop vegan. Like,
oh yeah,
you probably have to go into the grocery store pretty early, or at least you spend a good amount of time in there, unless you really already know what you're planned out to get.
Right.
But you still have to check the labels pretty seriously.
Well, that's why I normally try to like keep as close as I can to Whole Foods anyway. So it's just like I'll buy like a lot of potatoes, or I'll like buy beans and stuff, and just like eat like, I don't know, like as simply as I can, to also like save money, but also just because I don't like a lot of like additives and stuff in my food. So I don't go for like a lot of like the processed like vegan meats and stuff like that or anything like that. I'll just like,
it's about cereal. Talk to me about cereal.
Talk about cereal. Reese's Puffs.
You can eat Reese's Puffs?
They're vegan, yo.
Dude, yeah. They have the powdered peanut butter that's vegan, too.
Yeah, yo, PB Fit,
that's vegan, didn't I introduce you to that, really? Because I told you about it a while ago, and you weren't all about it. And then next thing I see you at Walmart with the peanut butter.
You're the foundation for, like, one of my worst addictions.
Well, I was like, I love peanut butter. But see, my combination was the worst, and people are going to hear this and be like, it's disgusting. First of all, I've seen people use mayo on a peanut butter sandwich. I've seen people do it. I hate mayo. But
I've heard about it. Never seen anyone actually do it.
I've cooked egg whites and made a bowl of PB Fit, and I mixed it up together. Dude, chocolate eggs, basically. It's like chocolate peanut butter eggs. Oh my God. I was like, I thought I discovered crack. And I'm sitting there eating it, and like, my mom was like, what is wrong with you? I was like, I don't want to hear it. You're that type of person that puts ranch on your pizza. That disgusts me.
But see, I feel like that's a lot more commonplace, though. Like, I remember people like doing that back in like elementary school.
Oh, I would move away from those people. They'd have to either find a new table, or I would.
Or move into a whole new state. Just like
yeah, exactly. Like, I'm gonna have to go to a whole new country, buy a new plane ticket.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that, I don't know, it's something about when it comes to eating meat and working out and stuff like that, it's really easier. It's a lot easier if you eat fish, because it's so clean and it's so kind of health conscious. I mean, if you live off a seafood diet, you're not really obese or dealing with any cholesterol problems. Yeah. But when you're dealing with the high carb intake from vegans, because you have to eat constant beans, I mean, just give me a list of things that you shop for, like, if you're going to go to the store, give me your grocery list, basically.
Oh, I mean, like, lentils, beans of any kind, really. A grain of some sort. I like oatmeal. I like oats, buckwheat, rice, stuff like that. Vegetables, fruit, potatoes. Like I said, I try to keep it, like, really clean.
Yeah.
And,
you don't use a whole lot of sauces either, because I found out like a lot of stuff like Worcestershire sauce is leftover like fish oil and stuff in there.
I like mustard though. I mean, that's good.
I'm a big fan of mustard too. I mean,
but like sometimes I've realized that like just being able to like, if you put like salsa in any meal, that can like bring a meal together. You know what I mean?
Also spices. A lot of people don't know that. Instead of going for the extra like calorie dressing or something like that, you can use a spice like paprika. I use a crap ton of that. Yeah. I use a lot of hot sauces, a lot of mustards to spice up. Because, I eat salads every day. That's basically my meal. And I just have meat on top of it. Yeah. But when you're eating that healthy, everyone's like, you're like a rabbit. All you do is eat lettuce all day. I'm like, I feel like that's the same anxiety vegans get too. When people are like, oh, yeah, all you do is eat vegetables all day. It's like, no, we eat other things too. There are other things that are not like...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just, when you're out at a restaurant, it's like, well, there's not much else but this bowl of leaves. Like,
and then you got to kind of talk to the person like, this wasn't handled in any certain... Like, you didn't cook it like with a steak and just take the steak off the top of it.
Right.
Which is kind of tricky, but you can't be 100% perfect all the time.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
You don't go as far as some of the guys do where they don't wear anything that's made of like wool or anything like that. Do you really strict veganism just to your food or your clothing?
I don't know. I don't actively go out and like buy leather jackets or anything like that. I'm just not like really about it anyway. But like,
don't get me wrong,
stuff that I have.
If I see a badass bear like fur coat, like with the bear head on it, like you see in like a Hercules movie or something, I'll probably buy that coat, even if I was vegan.
Probably. Yep. I just don't. I don't know. Like I have stuff that's like leather and stuff, but I don't throw it out because it's like you're throwing out like somebody in the world doesn't have that thing.
Exactly.
And you have it.
So
why would you just?
You're thinking of more of a all around perspective of like the world too, because I mean there are definitely places that are suffering that we're more fortunate than they are, and that's another argument for people that are against veganism, saying you should be happy that we have that food here. It's like, but at the same time, the way we process and create like meat from in our stores and everything. I had someone recently teach me how they killed a chicken, and like in our school at the cooking program. That is the most savagery way I've ever heard of anybody killing a chicken.
Yeah. Like
grabbing it in the old days where they grab it by the neck and swing it around like a wet towel. Like, okay, that would strict me off, eating chicken, even though I'm a big fan of chicken breast. It's like, I understand the whole fact, like when it comes down to people talking about caring for the animals, I would just never project myself out onto someone to try and change their eating habits.
Yeah, no, I feel like people should eat the way that they want to eat, but know that if you have interest in, like, I was just like surrounded by other people who had like proposed the topic to me, like at the time where I was just like, I don't really know what veganism was. So it's like, if it interests you, the information is out there.
Yes.
Look into it if you feel like you have some sort of moral means to do so, like you feel like you need to, but like I don't know. I feel like some vegan activism out there
you're
is
dealing
like
with a little bit of like an inner struggle, like what you
like. I was like, once I came to the realization, I was like, do I really need this, or do I really feel like this is okay? That's when I started to like. Once I felt that like change, like incited within myself, then I like sought out the information. But like pushing your views onto somebody else, it's like it's not gonna work. It's like.
I mean, you can't really try. It's the same thing like religion. You can't really put your perspective or your view on somebody else just because that's what you believe, because they're going to believe something 100% different. That's why they always it's that weird like hush hush talk. You don't want to ever bring it up at a dinner table, even when you're around family, because it always sparks some type of controversy. Where two people can have 100% of the facts and nobody can be right. You know what I mean? Because honestly, we really don't know. There are some people that benefit more from eating a vegan diet and being vegan for the rest of their life than people that would try it and they could have health problems for it. Mostly either because they're not doing it right or their body's not processing. We're all genetically made different.
Yeah, I know.
And as long as, like I said, you don't push your views onto anybody else, that's 100% like a go-to. Go for it, man. It's going to be definitely hard if I was living with you trying to shop.
I mean, you didn't even know I was a vegan until like a year after you knew me.
Dude, yeah, I was
That's
giving you
like,
I was giving you like, because I was getting like protein bars and stuff, and I was like, here's happy birthday, man. I give you like a sack of like free protein samples I got, and you're like, thanks, bro. And next thing I know, I'm like watching you throw it away. I'm like,
I didn't throw it away. I gave it to my brother.
Okay, well, you didn't eat it, but still,
Bro,
it's like
I mean,
you're like, man, I'm vegan. I'm like
within my clan.
Yeah, well, you're really the one that introduced me about it. Like, I knew about it, but I was like, okay, they probably, they eat meat and stuff too. I didn't understand the full grasp. But like, no, you guys go like, and kind of, you guys go scale. Full on. That's awesome though. Like, but it makes me think of the movie Scott Pilgrim, where the vegan guy has the superpowers.
I'm still waiting for my superpowers.
I know, man. Like, you gotta get that teleportation and flying.
I know. I can kind of get that. Sometimes I can get the little green beam out of my finger, but it's just not.
Dude, not Green Lantern style,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
that's awesome, man. Well, it's funny because I just find it like, as a health nut type person, I'll call myself that. I don't care, because when it comes to eating out and looking at the back of ingredient labels and doing that stuff, that's where really we can relate, because I take 45, 55 minutes sometimes in a grocery store just shopping in the produce aisle. Not because I'm in a hurry and like it just takes me that long, but more in the fact of like, I like taking my time when I get in there, and I also like shopping the deals. Like, I'll go at 4 a.m. to the grocery store and get the best possible yellow ticket markdown stuff, because even though that produce barely sells, there's not too many people in this world that are eating, healthy or just worried about food in general. They're more going for the cheapest, like, processed option. But that's society's kind of fault in general.
Yeah.
Just like, I mean, you can't expect a single mother with like that works a double job with 5 kids to be able to afford all organic type food. It's uncalled for. So fast food's going to be the better option, you know what I mean, when it's cheaper and more available, or the processed cereal that they know the kids are going to eat, not just push it off to the floor or something. So I mean, when it comes to that, I definitely think, like, I give you 100% respect for it. Now, if you had a pet, I don't know if you have a dog or a cat.
I would like one. I just can't have one where I'm living at right now. Yeah.
Do you believe that's more animal cruelty on that lines? Or do you believe, no, a pet's a pet?
I think there's a moral threshold, like, to that idea. I mean, I think there's a fundamental difference between owning a pet
and having a best friend, I guess you would say.
Yeah, having a best friend, owning a pet, and then just taking a whole bunch of baby chickens and just, like, blending all that shit up. Just, like, you know what I mean? Like, animal agriculture versus owning a pet.
Oh, yeah. Well, what I meant, like, was, like, when you have a dog, I don't think of him as a pet, to be honest with you. I mean, yeah, I'm obviously the owner, but it's, like, at the same time, I think of him more as, like,
a kinship.
Yeah, as a best friend. Like, like, they basically sleep with you, you know. I wouldn't let him sleep on the floor, especially if he's a big dog. Now, if he's a little chihuahua, I might kick him off to the side because those things freak me out. But they shake too much. Maybe they need to go on a vegan diet.
Maybe.
Fix. Now, that's the topic I wanted to talk about. Feeding your pet. Would you make your pet vegan?
No.
Feed them healthier options. Just feed them.
Because here's the thing.
Because a lot of people do that, and a lot of people have a lot of controversy whether it's good or not. Like, it makes the coat shinier, but after years you can tell.
Some cats in general, are carnivores. People try to make their cats. If you try to feed your cat a vegan diet, it's gonna die.
Have you seen that hashtag?
And that's animal cruelty, and that's not vegan.
Have you seen the hashtag on Instagram? There's an Instagram page called #VeganCat. These cats die after 5 years. These women are feeding their cats nothing but, like, vegetables and, like, no meats or nothing. And these cats' eyes, like, after, like, 4 years get, like, one eye goes completely white, kind of like Bill Cosby. And like, that cat obviously needs a type of, like, protein source. Now, dogs, like, I mean, there are animals out there that live off vegetables, don't eat meat. But humans in general are omnivores, so... when it comes down to feeding your pet the essential nutrients they need to survive, I think it comes down to the basis of how crazy you really want to get into it. Like, if you're going to be vegan, but if your pet doesn't want to be vegan, and you can tell your pet obviously needs... If
it tells you it doesn't want to be vegan, it's like, bro...
If the cat's like, seriously, I haven't shit in 3 days, I need something that's going to push these vegetables and lentils out... Yeah, I understand that whole factor.
Yeah.
So, I never even asked you what you do professionally. Like, what do you do as a job, everyday career type thing?
I work in a craft store.
Michael's Crafts. Yeah. And do you enjoy that at all? Is that something that you... It's a nice job, right?
It's a job. It's a nice place to work. They've always been really good to me. Everyone there is really nice, and they've been, like, flexible with school and stuff like that, but I mean, it's not I don't really want it to make it my career, so it's good for right now.
What's one of your passions that you want to kind of pursue career-wise, that you're going to school for, or just a passion in general that you enjoy doing?
For the longest time, I really wanted to pursue nutrition as a form, like a career field. Like, I wanted to become like a CNP, but now I've been looking towards more like physical therapy, and I was thinking about PA school for, like, chiropractic, maybe.
Just helping, like, in therapeutic ways, I guess.
Yeah, just, like, doing, like, how they do, like, the, like, realignments and stuff like that.
That scares the crap out of me. I don't know if you actually knew that. It's one of my fears.
Oh, yeah?
Somebody, getting their hands near my spine at all.
Yeah.
Because when I see when the people do the neck snaps and stuff like that, really scares me, just because of the fact
I don't know, PA for chiropractic, that was, like, an idea, but I think, like, just the realm of physical therapy is just, like, a scope. It's just kind of like a field I never really, like, looked into too much, and, like, I've been doing a lot more looking into now, and just I've been looking into, like, PA programs around here, and chiropractic is just something that has caught my interest. But
see, I started off wanting to be like a personal trainer when I went to school.
Yeah.
Like that's because just my big whole fitness aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But then I ended up kind of weaning off of it a little bit and delving into more about communication and podcasting because I've been having so much fun interviewing all these people.
Fun. Yeah.
Well, once you realize that, like, I mean, it's cool. I did at a young age that like everyone's got a nice little story, man. Whether it's their childhood experience or something that shaped them into the way how they are. The cool. I've met so many interesting people, man. I mean, every conversation I have is random. From watching late at night at 1 a.m. when we were working out together,
yeah.
watching George Lopez in the middle of the gym blasting it, and
nobody would be there.
Yeah, it was so much fun. You could literally do whatever you wanted. Like those memories, those are the things I think about. Like, oh my god! Like every time I see your name on my phone or Snapchat, I'm like, I remember the George Lopez episode that was playing when we were kind of joking around doing deadlifts and stuff. Like. It
was a crazy time.
It's fun, like, to share these experiences out there because someone out there either we're going to get a kick out of it or someone out there is going to get a kick out of it.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, we talked about crazy stuff. We had like the most random conversations. I
mean, what kind of conversations are really normal at 1 o'clock in the morning?
True.
Especially when you're hyped up on pre-workouts. And
yeah, 1 in the morning is like the time for either like. There's worldly revelations or just like the weirdest nonsensical.
You find two types of people there at that. Well, actually, three types of people there that early in the morning. One, the person that wants to work out but doesn't want anybody to be there, which was basically us. Yeah. Two, the person that's too smart for everyone else in the world to where they need to feel like they need to be alone because they just can't handle when people start talking. Or three, psychopaths, like people that are like. Yeah. Crackheads or something, which you would get at like another gym, World Gym or something like that. That's a little bit steroid using. I went to World Gym once and got offered steroids.
Oh my god!
The dude was a very, very ripped, colored individual, and he did I think 40-something pull-ups and sat there and ate a steak. Like I mean, a straight up small steak, like a little like meal container and everything. And I asked him,
sequential order, like he just like finished his set and had it.
Yes, his waist was the size of a Coke can. I swear to you, this soda can, he was the size of that was his waist. But he had the biggest lats I had ever seen in my entire life. I asked him, like, he was the gym, like, bodybuilding, like, pictures you would see. And I was like, how do you get like that? He's like, bro, steroids. He's like, you think this is natural? He goes, I inject myself, and sometimes I take a little supplement. And I'm like, what? And he offered it to me, and for a minute I had a moment where I was like, should I try it? Just because I had already been working out for a couple of years, I was like, but it would get me results so much faster. And I was like, but then when you stop taking it and you stop doing what you're doing, your body just immediately, like, you'll never get to that look again. It would cause such severe body dysmorphia.
Yeah. And, like, I think even just, like, biologically, I don't think you could ever go back the same way. Because, like, I think it's, like, when you go off cycles of stuff like that, like your natural rate of like testosterone production and stuff like that is like so much lower. That's why they do like post-cycle testosterone and stuff like that.
Well, that's a big thing too, because when you're dealing with supplements, especially like just being like, you know, a health person, when you're bodybuilding or doing something like that, you're dealing with a whole wide variety of supplements. And when you're even eating vegan, you have to deal with like make sure you're getting proper B12, you know, proper other things that are essential to hormone growth. Yeah. And, I mean, you got a good factor, though, because nuts and seeds in general all have, like, testosterone-boosting hormones and stuff. And I realized for a while I wasn't eating, like, any of those healthy fats or anything like that. And I started realizing, like, a lot of my testosterone would go down because after you work out, and then you're eating nothing but like fish and like salads and stuff like that, you're not getting any essential fats or stuff that your body can produce for hormones. I mean, you get your essential fats from the fish oil and all that type of stuff, but you're not getting like the hormone boosting things that kind of keep you more masculine. Yeah. And now a lot of people have problems. Do you eat soy products?
Not really, to be honest.
Because a lot of people say that like if you're a guy and you eat soy, it can cause you to grow like, estrogen or start producing estrogen.
The whole argument around that is because the phytoestrogen content in soy, but people never talk about like mammalian estrogens and stuff like that are found in like milk and stuff like that could potentially do the same thing. So it's like you have to take it like with a grain of salt. I just don't do a lot of the soy stuff just because it's not. I mean, tofu's not great. in my opinion, stuff like that. And it's even that is like pretty processed. But
the one time I ate soy food, I got tricked.
You got tricked.
I got tricked. I was eating a California roll.
Yeah.
And I was like eating like 40 of them at like a Chinese buffet. And one of them was tofu. And I grabbed it because I was just grabbing platters and platters. And they were running out. So I just kept grabbing them. And I grabbed one that was tofu and I ate it. And I was like, this is a weird like foamy type taste. And it tastes more like a sponge. But I'm not against it. I don't think it's that bad tasting.
From what I've gathered, from what I've gathered over the years, making tofu is like an art. You're either like, you're good at it or you're like really bad. Like you have to know what you're doing. Like I know you have to like marinate it for like a long period of time and just like cook it a certain way. Because if you don't, it's gonna like turn into like that kind of like packing peanut consistency.
That's what's with like cooking in general though too, because like if you're trying to cook a cake, you gotta sometimes be silent while like the dough is rising, because if it makes like a loud bang or something shakes the oven. I don't even know how to use my oven, to be 100% honest with you. I stick to the microwave and the top of the stove. Like when it comes to the oven, I always had really bad experience as a little kid when you open it up and it's really really hot and like hits your face. I always thought like, I don't know, because like that was around the time I was learning about the Holocaust, and I think my brain makes that connection with Jews' ovens, and I don't know. I've seen a lot of movies where people accidentally like a little kid crawls into an oven or something. And,
oh my god!
Yeah, it was a bad experience. Plus, I had an older brother that would always kind of like joke around.
Hopefully, you know now not to crawl into an oven though, Rob.
There's something back there where I'm like, I need to clean that off. And next thing I know, I climb in there and someone just throws it shut. That's why I would never work at like a food restaurant. And that's one job you probably would never want to do unless it's a vegan friendly restaurant, because you're sitting there, you can't work at a pizza shop and be vegan.
I mean, I could, I just would just be like whatever about it. I would just have to like, I mean, I wouldn't.
That's like the same thing.
It's not like I'm just like snacking on the pizza.
When someone around me is eating like food that I haven't had in forever, like a nice pizza or something, I'm like, I haven't had that in forever, but I'm such a health conscious person. I'm like, I would freaking tear that up in 3 bites, man. That would be me if I was vegan working at a pizza place. I'd be like, God, you know, just give me the slice. Screw it. I was vegan 20 seconds. That's enough.
Vegan 20 seconds.
Dude, I can't cut out seafood when it comes to that. I'll eat anything out of the sea. I'll eat a shark's butthole, to be 100% honest with you. It's really, you gotta really...
Next thing you know, they're gonna have them at Whole Foods, shark buttholes in a can.
I hope they do, man. I will pay $40 for that.
$40. It's probably gonna cost like $40. I mean, think of caviar. It's like
fish is expensive
eggs.
sometimes.
Fish butthole, that'd be like pretty.
Caviar is fish eggs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why is it such a delicacy? I don't think it tastes good at all. I had caviar once.
I don't know. You can go to. If you wanted to eat something strange, you could buy a little black Orbeez from Michael's for like $20 and just eat that.
Yeah, Orbeez, right? Safe to eat, unless you're 3 to 5 years old, because you might choke.
I wonder who thought of that caviar. Like, who was the first person that was just like, yeah, and just like put it on a cracker? Like,
who was the first person that thought of designing animal farms in general?
Who thought of just dairying?
Who thought of trying milk, first of all? We never even think about
like,
that. Who decided to put their mouth up to a cow's udder and decide to suck on it until milk came out?
I don't think they want to be known because then they're going to be in the history books as that guy.
Like we know, like, do we even know who invented peanut butter? And you can't say George Washington Carver because he's not the guy that invented peanut butter. He just found a use for it.
I think they know this, but I don't know his name.
Well, I heard that like in whatever some culture they used peanut butter like as a building material. They would slather it.
I would live there. I would eat all the houses.
Things. Yeah, and start eating everybody's gingerbread house.
I could.
Now when it comes to candy, what's your restriction on candy?
I just like.
I don't eat it in general, but like when it comes to like I see like you can't really have chocolate, can you?
If it's like milk chocolate, no. But I mean like some chocolates out there don't have milk in it, so they're like cool.
So like.
But, like I don't know, like a Hershey's bar, because it's milk chocolate. But
you said you started the journey about 4 years ago.
Yep, 4 years.
And you said it was a health conscious decision.
Yeah, it was ethics and then health conscious.
So what do you mean? Can you tell me a little bit more detailed about that? Like, because I know at one point you said you were getting sick at one time.
Yeah, well, the ethics decision was like the whole animal thing where I realized I'm eating like a lot, and it's kind of like grossed me out morally wise, but health conscious wise at the time I was eating so much, like so many eggs and so many like animal products and chicken breasts and protein powder and like
It was
yogurt
getting
and stuff.
hard for your kidneys to digest.
Yes, I started getting like problems with one of my kidneys. Like my liver enzymes like shot through the roof to like really unsafe levels. Like that, they said that like they would only see normally in cases with like alcoholics or like people with like fatty liver disease and stuff like that. But yeah, and I also had problems with, I think it was like my left kidney, and they like, I went through like a whole different kind of like a litany of different kind of doctors. They tried to figure out what was going wrong, and it was just like, that was kind of like also swayed my opinion on maybe I'll just try this different way of eating for a little while to see if it kind of like makes things.
Did you notice like immediate benefits from eating?
I mean, not immediately.
You definitely didn't have it down probably 100%.
See, here's the thing though, there's like a detox period for sure. Like if you go like strict diet switch like overnight like I did, trying out veganism for a while, there's like a detox phase where it's like a lot of that like internal inflammation, because like if you eat a lot of dairy, like a lot like I did, you do go through like some sort of systemic inflammation that people show. Some people get acne. Like I had really bad acne when I ate like a lot of yogurt and stuff like that. And there's like a certain detox period where you lose a lot of that like waterlogged like inflamed mass, and like you start to feel like sick because you're kind of like getting rid of like
all the phlegm and really all like the
mucus and stuff that. But like after that, like I felt better, but like I didn't like feel like completely different. But like going back to the doctors, like my liver enzymes and stuff started to like normalize like to their what they should be, and a lot of like the problems with my kidneys and stuff like that started to go away. And I just started to realize, well, this other way of eating kind of like helped reverse the problems from the other way I started eating. So I was like, I don't really want to go back to that. So that kind of like helped me stick with it. It was just kind of like, it helped. I don't know. Because I think it was Elizabeth Blackburn. She was like the person who did like the research on like telomerase and stuff like that, with like chromosomes and stuff like that. She also did like research on plant-based diet and like epigenetic changes that happen over time. And I think it was like 298 genes or something like that she identified that have like they're either like upregulated or silenced over the course of like time when you go completely like plant-based, and you don't have like, I think it has something to do with like sources of methionine and stuff like that, amino acids.
Yeah.
But
amino acids are like, you can get them a lot. It's really hard to get in plants, but it's more viable in like meats and stuff. Like for people that don't use like creatine powders or a lot of supplements, if they're using like not any amino powders, they use just eating beef has creatine in it. I never ate really a lot of beef. Like when it comes to red meat, like I said, it sits a little too heavy for me. I prefer like foods that kind of not slow me down, but like keep me like there's really a different feeling when you eat a burger, and then if you're eating a salad, there's two different feelings you're going to get. One, you're going to feel really you're really going to feel full from both. But there's a longer lasting feeling from your body trying to digest this red meat or type of burger that's highly processed, rather than if it's eating a salad. 'Cause usually 45 minutes after you have a salad, you're like, what else is there to eat? Yeah.
Basically all I'm saying is just like eating a different way like changed how I felt, I guess.
Yeah, so, it made you feel better,
Yeah. I don't know, for a while that was getting kind of bad, but that's it.
I mean, I thought you explained it pretty well. Like I said, I'm learning here in this whole situation too, because you're the one that really introduced me to the whole subject of vegan. I just got freaked out when it was 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm looking up the hashtag vegan cat, and I'm trying to sort through all these pictures of all these people that made their cat go vegan, and you can tell like, oh, that's a cute cat, and then 4 months later the cat's like freaking, you can tell in its eyes, it's like, kill me, what are you doing?
What's funny is I don't even think I could eat dairy again. Because...
Dude, I haven't had dairy in forever. It's, once you cut something out, it's really hard to go back to.
But like physically, I don't know if I can, because not long ago I was at a restaurant with like a friend of mine, and like I ordered something, and I didn't know until like a week or so later that the thing that I ordered, it was like a taco salad sort of thing, and the shell, it had milk in it, and I didn't know that. It was like, it had a milk base. And like the next day, I had like the most like explosive, disgusting like digestive issues in the entire world. Like I was dying, and I didn't know why, and was like, and I found out a week later that this happened. I was like, is this like because I can't have milk anymore? Did I develop like some sort of lactose intolerance?
Yeah, your body produced something like that, like created its own little intolerance to it. Because I'm sensitive when it comes to lactose, so I stay away from milk. But like, I'll go for the occasional like light yogurt.
Yeah.
And dude, that'll mess me up. Like I'll get gassy from that, and especially eating like eggs or egg whites or something.
Yeah.
I get gassy from that. Like.
Yeah.
I'm lactose sensitive, so I don't mess with any cheeses because that'll mess me up digestive wise for like the next couple of days, and then I'll know when it's completely out of my system when I'm like back to feeling myself again, and I'm like, all right, I need to make sure not to do that. And the next thing I know, I'm eating egg whites again. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
screw it, we're going deep again.
Yeah, I feel you. But I don't know. I mean.
The body's just naturally like a mystery. We're really never going to have it solved, to be 100% honest with you. What works for you? Like, same thing when someone tries to take personal training advice or follow strict advice of one of their friends or something like that. You can't do that because he is 100% a genetically different person.
Yeah. His
genes, he's interested in other subjects, other topics, other like hobbies and stuff. And, you know, what he eats is going to be 100% different from what you eat. What he works out with is going to be 100% different from what you work out with. You can't follow them. Personal trainers and those types of people can give you the advice of what works for them. But they're not meant to be there for you every single time you work out for the rest of your life if you're going to be working out. They're meant there to give you the tools and a little bit of knowledge on what you can do that works certain muscles and types of things like that.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I really learned. And I was like, that's it. It's just like when you learn a trade or any type of job, or you're really just like vegan. We can use that. You're constantly learning 24/7. I mean, everybody in this world is constantly learning about, you know, different things. We have new technology comes out every day, new foods that come out every day, new recipes, new anything you can think of. Really, it's brand new. Every day is a changing aspect. And once you kind of open your eyes to that and kind of break out of a shell a little bit, it makes the world a little bit of a better place. Considering that we have so much that goes on that is focused on its bad, like with news and all this, we don't ever think about any of the really, really super good stuff.
Right, yeah.
So one thing I do want to ask you, I ask everybody on this podcast, and we always end up going off on some random tangent and totally avoiding the question, but have you ever had a transcendental moment? It's basically like an epiphany. Like, it could be a sunset, or like you're on top of a mountain, and it's mainly the reason why people go to these, like, go into nature and try and find, like, the beauty. Like, where a moment where you're like, this is what life's about. Like, and anytime you really have, like, a downtime, or anytime, like, you're feeling a little bit depressed, you think of that one moment. Usually it could be a funny memory, a funny, like, trigger of watching George Lopez at 1 a.m. at the gym.
I feel like,
you can experience it more than once.
Yeah, I feel like I have more than once. It's just kind of hard to, like, off the cuff think of something like that. I know I used to feel that sort of feeling of, like, wholeness, I guess, is a way I could describe it, is, like, when I would live, back when I used to live in Chestertown back home, where I'm from, I would, like, go out, because, like, my house, where my room is at, outside of my window was, like, this overhang on, like, a porch, so I could always, like, climb out my window at night and just, like, be on the roof of the house and just kind of
just enjoy nature.
Yeah, and just, like, being out there, like, I just remember, like, one time in a particular, I went out there, it was kind of like, it was kind of like storming, but earlier, but it was just kind of like that post-storm feeling where it's like the wind is, like, calmly blowing.
The air's
like,
cool, it feels like it's about to rain.
Yeah, but it's at night. Yet. Well, either that or it just, like, already, it had just passed raining, and, like, it was nighttime, so, like, the stars had, like, just come out, and just, like, out there with, like, this, like, cool breeze, and it's, like, kind of windy, but, like, had just rained, so it's, like, kind of, like, feels misty, and it's, like, cool and bright, and stars out.
Can you smell the rain in the air?
Yeah.
That's always a beautiful thing, dude. I'm telling you, there's
it just kind of, like, levels you out and makes you feel like that, like, the problems that you feel,
a sense of calmness.
The problems that you feel like you have are just so, like, small in the grand scheme of things. So it's just like, I don't know.
I wake up early in the morning, and I'm telling you, man, when I get a nice coffee and just kind of sit on the back porch or something and hear the nice little birds chirp or the trees sway, it's no better feeling, man. I definitely think a lot of people should start, trying to wake up a little bit earlier, even though it is fun to stay out late at night. But I mean, if you go to, what are you really missing at 1 o'clock in the morning? Go out and sleep till like, sleep until like 4 a.m. I know I'm saying sleep until 4 a.m., but wake up, get a nice coffee, and get your day going, man.
Yeah.
You got the whole freaking day ahead of you, and then just be in your house by like 10 o'clock. There's no need to be going out partying and drinking. You rather enjoy every moment of your life. Honestly, I'm not saying don't go out and drink, but even though you probably don't drink, I know I don't drink on my health night. Plus, when you're eating a vegan diet, it's really hard to eat beer, which I found out, all the wheat and stuff like that, a lot of that stuff's super processed. You got to make sure you're checking your labels on stuff, but there's no point, man. You want to go experience your full capabilities of your brain and make the most of your life, obviously, go on adventures, but at the same time, you don't want to just not remember half your freaking adulthood because you're blackout drunk half the time.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I kind of want to do more traveling. I feel like there's a lot out there I still want to see. One
of my buddies travels and he only spends $15 a day at some of these countries he's been to. He's been to Greece. He's been to all these places I'm really interested in going, mostly with Greek mythology. I would love to visit ancient Greece and look at all the old buildings. I'm obsessed with creativity, whether it's someone's passion for talking, someone's passion for writing music, someone's passion for playing an instrument. I'm just excited to hear everyone's little...
learning different, cultures.
Yeah, and view on the world, man. I would love to interview anybody. That's why I'm always asking them, hey, anybody if I can interview that would be interested in it? And they're like, I don't know about interviews. I'm like, it's not an interview, though, man. It's a podcast. And they're like, what's a podcast? I'm like, you're talking to me. So it's like, you're not talking to anybody else. If we want to, go off on some stupid tangent, we can go off on some stupid tangent. We don't hang out every day, so it's like, you're talking to me, man. It's like if I saw you in the store, we're going to have the same conversation, but now I'm just recording it so some other person can listen to it and be like, these guys are idiots.
Yeah, it's just kind of a way of sharing, worldviews.
Yeah, I mean, it gives somebody cool to listen to, too. If you're just bored and trying to kill time. But, so, what's one of your passions, I would say? Something that you have, a deep kind of connection for that you've always wanted to do, but you don't know if you have kind of the courage to chase after. Me, I always wanted to be an actor or something like that, but I was always afraid of going on in front of people because I was always very shy and stuff. But then I started realizing I'm good at talking, so
I wanted to be I wanted to go into film back in the day because I used to be a film student before I was a biology student. I wanted to make movies and maybe be in movies, direct, that sort of thing. I kind of just wanted to dabble in all of it, but film was definitely the direction I wanted to go into. And I still have a passion for filmmaking, photography, and just art in general. But I think just movies in general and stuff was always something I wanted to go into. Now, but I didn't really know how to. It's hard to break into. Especially if you want to
Oh, for sure. You got to have connections, definitely. Yeah. It's if you're trying to start a business down here in this town, you really got to know somebody that can get you going. Even with playing music down here, there's no bands that can come right off the street and get a place unless they have someone's name that they can use or someone's thing to get them into the bar situation.
Yeah, that's the problem with people who make 30-minute short films, and it's that's their first thing that they make. So it's who's going to watch that? You know what I mean? You have to you have to know some people. You have to have connections. You have to have a way to market it. You know what I mean? Because
trust me, my podcast is just starting out, so it's I'm only getting average.
But as you're meeting more people now you're making more connections.
It's expanding it. Yeah,
people are going to talk about it. Be like, hey, I was on this guy's podcast. Check it out, and then more people. Exactly. Are going to watch it.
See, so but my problem is I'm so I'm really happy when people share it, but I'm against using anybody's name Just my parents are in radio, so they can spread out my podcast and do all this stuff through the radio if they wanted to. They can just tell people about it to go listen to it. Yeah. I don't want them to do that because I don't like throwing out names. I'm trying to make a name for myself.
Right. But the way that you're doing it by interviewing so many different diverse people, you're gonna have more word of mouth because it's these people be like, oh, I was on this thing, and these people have never been on a thing before. So now they're going to tell
if they have a
people.
fun time though, because I feel like there's that one podcast that goes down the road where this guy's a freaking asshole. I'm like, all right, well, shit.
Shit, I didn't hear that one. Yeah.
No, I didn't do that yet.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't messed up that bad. I try and stay pretty fun and positive in my everyday life, so it kind of reflects back onto my interviews.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, because I think it's like an argument of like whether or not people are being too overzealous, because I feel like the way that you're doing this is like a lot more humble than like someone's like, I made an hour-long short film about this thing because I wanted to do it, and it's like, who's gonna watch it? And they put it on YouTube and they don't tell anybody about it, and it's like, why is nobody watching it? Whereas you're just like, you're making connections with people and you're sharing your opinion, you're getting their opinion, starting a conversation.
Oh yeah.
And it's different than someone saying, this is my thing, why aren't people being interested in it?
I'm open to everyone, really, if they want to listen to it or not. Honestly, I'm like kind of like one of the like a DVD or CD you get at a thrift store. If you buy me and then you feel like popping in a DVD player for
Rob's
a quick
Cool Jams.
Yeah, Rob's mixtape. It'll set your stereo on fire. No, but it's just something like, if you want to listen to it, listen to it. If you don't, I'm not going to be offended if you don't like it. I'm not going to be offended if some person out there is going to hate my voice. There's definitely going to be the haters. Hate us because they ain't us. But there's going to be people out there that aren't going to like my view on anything. But, I appreciate the listen, and I also appreciate the people that are willing to take the time to even come down here and get into the setup.
Yeah, and that's just, that in itself is just means for more conversations, like people who have a different viewpoint.
Oh, for sure, man. I have so many people I'm trying to get on this podcast that are afraid to get on here.
Yeah.
Because they don't know if they'll be set in that situation. Like, the conversations I've had with you, I guarantee you someone will find interesting. Mm-hmm. And I know, like, it's kind of hard to really explain, like, make an interesting podcast when it comes down to, we're only 20 years old. We don't have a lot of life experience. It's my main reason why I wouldn't interview anybody really younger than me, just because you haven't really experienced the world yet. But we've all experienced something, whether it's childhood, abuse, childhood abandonment, childhood just pain in general, or childhood fun. Mm-hmm. Growing up in life, we've all, at this age already, have been through so much. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we can already explain it, but obviously you're going to get the more interesting stories from someone that's older. Like, the main reason why I'm talk to my grandfather and grandparents a lot more, because just hearing stuff about what they went through at their childhood compared to my childhood, I was like, I realized why you did that to me. You made me sit at the table and eat all my vegetables, and if I didn't eat, leave the table, even though you probably have your vegetables finished first. Well, like, I realized
vegetables are top priority in the vegan clan.
I realized that, like, just because he went through the depression and stuff, I was like, why does he always suck on his chicken bone? Like, why does he get all the chicken off the bone? And I'm like, oh, he's not wasting it. And, like, he taught me how to do that. And even though, like, some people see that disgusting when you're sitting at a dinner table, it's like, it's how it's not being wasteful at the same time. And, like you were saying about, countries that are less fortunate and stuff like that, don't have this type of, source of food and source of agriculture. A lot of, half the time, if you go through somebody's trash, I'm not saying go do it, but if you look into somebody's, like, what they have in their trash can in their kitchen, half the food's thrown away. A lot of it's wasted because they end up putting way too much on their plate, and then that's a big problem with America, and it just creates an even bigger problem when it comes to how many animals that are slaughtered, how much emissions are being produced. We tend to be way more wasteful. So when it comes to the idea of even veganism in general, whether if you care about animals, whether if you don't care about animals, you're just doing it for health reasons. It's not a bad choice to go into, just because of the fact that mostly, as you just got to make sure that you're doing it the right way.
People forget, like, how fortunate we are that everything is so accessible.
We got definitely a lucky roll of the dice. Especially just talking to people that are in less fortunate countries, and hearing these stories about these kids that are starving so bad that their ribs are ripping through their skin. Like, it's tough to hear, man, because it's so out of our world, where we don't even realize, like, for us that live in this country, that we're pretty lucky, even though there's definitely some downsides to our country. But we're lucky that we can drive down the street. We have that option to get go to the grocery store and get food if we need food.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's there. Even though we got to have money to buy it, it's an option for us. There's a lot of people out there that don't have that option to go down to like a Walmart and get their grocery store needs. They have to go out and hunt for it, and sometimes they come home with nothing. You know?
Yeah, there are people that like risk their lives every day just to like find food to survive, whereas like we have like the Amazon store in New York where you can just go in and pick up stuff, and it already knows you want to buy it, so you can just grab the stuff and go.
I'm waiting for the day when they have the drones that just drop stuff off at your house. Like, it's already here, but once they get like better, it'll just start flying through people's windows or teleporting into your house. Or you see a certain advertisement and be like, I want that, and next thing you know, it scans some card in your brain that freaking brings it up. That's gonna eventually come down the road.
Sometimes like you're gonna want this tomorrow, and it's like, oh, I already have it. Because it knew I was going to want that. It's just technology is like getting to the point.
That's where it scares the crap out of me. I'll go back to an Amish lifestyle. I've talked about this before. I've said if technology starts going insane like that, I'll end up going back to an Amish lifestyle. I can't handle, going up and having Alexa talk to me and stuff like that. I don't like all that.
I could do that. I could just like have a farm and just grow plants. Just grow potatoes.
I'd live on your farm, but we'd have to like find animal bones or find a way to produce animal bones to make Jell-O. Or at least live down the street from a food line so I can go down there when I
go to neighboring towns and ask people for their animal bones.
Do you have any dead animals you don't need? I'm going to bury my dog. I will take him, sir.
They have like special like trash cans set up just for us. Where it's like they dump their animal bones, so we're going to pick them up.
Yeah, there's got one filled with like celery and cauliflower. And then
it's the animal bone car, and he's going to come by and he's like pick them all up. And
there's a trash can labeled Matt with nothing but vegetables.
Although think about it though, if like we're the only people making Jell-O, like we got the market cornered. Like we have the monopoly on Jell-O in this world.
Let's just go to a country that doesn't have like a lot of like money. So if we brought $10 there, we'd be like Pablo Escobar style rich.
We just like
we just run it. Like we just buy a bunch of land and you just farm one side and I'll farm the other side. I'll buy a bunch of shrimp and just throw them in the water and just start fishing, doing like a fish farm type thing.
You just introduce Jell-O to a third world country. Like, I have this portion where I just grow all my plants.
Your farm would probably do so much better than mine because of how easy it is to care for. I mean, it's definitely a process of caring for like vegetables and growing vegetables. But dude, I could not eat all those shrimp to keep the population down. It would be overpopulated in a matter of like a year. There would be like 30 million something salmon. I'd have to start going like Ted Nugent and inviting people onto my property to start fishing these fish because I cannot eat them all.
But think about the prospects of this. I mean, the Jell-O is like the forbidden fruit though. Like they don't have Jell-O, so we've just introduced it to them. Like, and that should be enough to be like.
You just gave me a reason to boost veganism. Adam and Eve, they ate the apple. They were trying to be vegan, and God said no. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Oh my God.
But that's cool though, because if you think like how we've gone from hunters and gatherers, and then now we have like, can you imagine going out and trying to hunt for your own food right now? Mm. No, you couldn't do it. I don't think I couldn't do it. I definitely would come back starving or something. I don't know how to fish really. Besides using like a $2 Dollar General, freaking Walmart fishing rod or something, but I can't do that when it comes down to like how those people, that was what they fed their family with. Some dude would have to catch like 30 trout for his village or something, and like that happens today that we don't even think about.
Yeah.
I definitely think people need to open up their eyes a little bit more and being kind in society, and also realizing what we have. Like, there's some more viable options. Be happy that you have shoes on your feet. Be happy that you have,
Be happy there's a Walmart on like every corner of every road.
Fast food zone, every time you turn your head, basically, there's a fast food restaurant. Kind of scares the crap out of me, but
yeah, it's like this country turned into like one big advertisement for just fast food. We're
just highly economic. I think like we're all about producing as much as we possibly can, which is the big problem with this world when it comes to like. So many people take the steps in trying to recycle and care for the world, and there's those people that'll make up everything that they're doing. Just one of them will, by just ruining everything, by just driving their car 1,000,000 miles a day, whether it's for work or just doing it, running their car an extra 10 minutes outside before they even get out there, just like EPA type style factors, like especially when it comes to water. Like, do you really need your sink running, your dishwasher running, your laundry going, and also trying to take a shower at the same time? Like, your water bill's got to be expensive. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, no.
You got to save kind of factors on everything, and
so I can't stand like having like all the lights on in my house because it's just like, I don't know, unnecessarily like running electricity up if like light is on in every house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like kind of sucks like when you have roommates and stuff like that. You have to like guys they just like.
Well, living with somebody else is just a pain because if you leave the light on and then they turn it off, and they're probably thinking the same thing that when they leave the light on and you turn it off, you're like, you're really wasting our money, bro, like electricity wise. But I mean, at the same time, see, I could never. It's hard to live with someone I know. I understand that factor.
I think it's just kind of like a compromise thing because I know that like there are things about like me that like I know that my roommates like don't like, and there's stuff about like them that I don't like.
Probably because they can't eat any of your food in the refrigerator.
Well, here's the thing though, I don't eat any of their food. So there's none of that. Like,
yeah, there's that. That's
you go.
like the
See, there
best
you go.
part about having you as a roommate.
I don't have to worry about stealing your food. There you go.
Nobody's gonna want that celery stick that's in
Bro, I don't eat celery. It's like, what do you mean?
You don't eat celery?
I mean, I do. It's just like I'm not snacking
that's
on it every 5 seconds.
That's what I freaking live on, bro.
Oh my god.
Use that. Introduce it into your PB Fit, man.
I mean, so yeah, celery and peanut butter is good.
A lot of people are like, "Why do you eat peanut butter? It's powdered." I'm like, you gotta put water on it. You don't just eat the freaking powder.
Unless you're like true savage, just like
savage
eating
animal
that shit like ravage,
dumping it down your mouth.
Oh my god.
Anything you want to ask me or anything you want to talk about?
You still go to walk?
Yeah, man, every day.
What you still in the morning?
I go in the morning. Well, actually, I go around like 5:30.
Oh yeah.
I started going. It was just easier dealing with it off work. But I've gone every day. My December 30th, because my birthday was the 31st. Yeah. So I turned 21, and my dad signed me up when I was 16, so it was like 5 years.
Yeah, it's 5 years now.
Yeah, so it's been 5 years every day.
Damn.
It's definitely taking a toll, man. I'm definitely getting like there was a big point where I was like, I don't feel like going anymore.
Yeah. Because
it does become like more like a job rather than having fun. But I think you just gotta kind of make it fun too.
Yeah.
Don't really pressure yourself. Like for me, it's just more of a mental thing. I do have a little bit of like a mental disorder when it comes to my looks. Mm-hmm. But it's also the main reason why like I would never be able to eat vegan, because the amount of calories and stuff you have to consume is twice as much as if you were just eating like a fish-based diet. Just because to get the protein requirements you need and stuff like that, and carbohydrates too. I don't really care too much about carbs that much.
Well, carbs aren't a bad thing. They're a macronutrient.
Well, I eat a lot of fruit. That's where I get my carbs from.
Yeah.
But like when it comes to eating rice and something that's heavily carbed up like that, it doesn't sit right in my stomach, which is why I would never be able to go into like a diet, like a vegan diet like that. If I try to eat pasta or try and eat something that has like a lot of beans or something in it, it messes with my stomach hard. Not only in the digestion, like making me gassy, but it's just, oh god, dude, it just sits like, feels like I swallowed like 4 rocks. But that's because I've eaten nothing but like green leaves and fish and stuff that sits so light in there and gets digested after like 45 minutes.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, fruit and stuff like that is digested differently than starches and stuff like that anyway.
Dude, I freeze all my fruit, man. You know me, dude. I stock up 30 pounds of grapes in my freezer right now. If you go to Harris Teeter right now, 99-cent grapes, dude. Hook it up. I spent $20 over there the other day. The woman's like, I knew you were coming. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I love grapes.
And then 99-cent pineapple, the new ad starts tomorrow, so gotta stock up on those too. Anti-inflammatories, bro. Gym nuts. Like I said, this is not a podcast. This is the health corner.
Yeah, I know. Antioxidants. Them grapes.
Well, I mean, I appreciate you taking the time to come down here and
really cool.
Be on the podcast.
Yeah.
We covered a good basis of stuff about veganism, but especially stuff I didn't know about. I'm a little bit more educated on it. I don't have any problems with it, so I don't think you should be feeding your freaking cat vegan food.
Yeah, no, don't kill your cat's kids. Don't do that.
Don't be that guy in the neighborhood where all the neighborhood pets start going missing just because you're trying to feed all of them a vegan diet in your basement.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. Well, I appreciate you being on the podcast.
Fun. Thanks for having me.